that we are receiving the TV. This means that we can use for example, the phone line to receiving the internet. We are receiving the internet from the CAT-V. These are types of the receiving internet in SOHO. Maybe we experience another types, for example, some wireless methods. Okay, but here I'm not going to talk about all of the detail, but I wanted to say that we are working on SOHO, and with one method that is related to our service providers, we are receiving the internet. Means we have a small networks. Maybe inside of your SOHO, inside of your small office, you have, for example, a local networks with a switch, some PCs, some devices. Okay, but minimum you have one internet connection. You know it because we need it. We need to send email, we need to send our files, we need to use or work in the, for example, social media. Because of that, in SOHO we have certainly a networks. Okay, and this network can, or for example, internet connection can be established, can be created with one of these methods or other methods. But we have one of these methods for connecting to the internet. Look at this picture. This is the same scenario here. As you can see, we have a SOHO, a small office, home office, and this is a, for example, user, and in this user can connect to the internet. You know that user is not knowing about the detail of the network. The user only works with networks. The user only connect to the networks, and the user doesn't know anything about the detail of network devices, network rules, or network protocols. Here, as you can see, we have a cloud. We call it internet. What is the cloud? Let me give you a brief explanation about this cloud. What is the cloud? When you are working in networking, or you are, for example, drawing a network diagram, a cloud, this is a cloud, okay, represent a part of a network. Whole details or all of the details of these networks are not important, okay, to the purpose of this diagram. Because of that, we are using only a cloud. This means that the detail of this cloud is not important for our explanation. Because of that, here I use a cloud. This is the internet, for example. And after that, as you can see in the first scenario, in the top scenario, we have a CAT-V cable. I mentioned it before, and here we have a modem in the SOHO, and with one Ethernet cable, the computer connected to the internet. And this is one of the connections that we can have to the internet. Another connection, as you can see here, again we have a cloud. This is the internet connected to the ISP, and with one phone line, we call it digital subscriber line. This is connected to our access point. This is not only an access point, this is the DSL modem and also access point. And with wireless, for example, waves, we can connect our PC, our tablet, or other devices to the network. And you know that the ISP is the abbreviation of the internet service provider. The DSL is the abbreviation of digital subscriber line. AP is the abbreviation of the access point. Also, let me review the two another term. One of them are explained in the previous videos. The first is LAN. Here we have a LAN or local area networks. You know that a LAN is a network in a limited geographic area. For example, in a building, in a room, this is a LAN. Okay, when you have two buildings in two cities, and after that you connect these two buildings to each other, you have a WAN, not a LAN. LAN means one building, one rooms. Okay, for example. Okay, we can give more detailed explanation, definition about the LAN, but for now it's sufficient. LAN, this is a LAN, okay, local area networks. Also, maybe this is also a LAN, but in most cases we don't call the wireless LAN, we call it WLAN. WLAN means wireless LAN or wireless local area networks. Because of that, when we say LAN or WLAN, we are talking about a small or limited geographic area, okay? But LAN, almost in most cases, for example, is referred to the wired or for example cable network, and wireless LAN is referred to the wireless networks, or maybe in some cases you see this term Wi-Fi. Okay, Wi-Fi or WLAN, both of them are same. LAN and WLAN. Don't mistake that this is WLAN, not VLAN. Okay, this is WLAN, and VLAN is another things we will talk about. The for example VLAN in future videos, but for now this is the WLAN. Both home-based networks, okay, and network built for use by a company make use of similar networking technologies. Okay, the information technology or IT world refers to a network created by one corporation or enterprise for the purpose of allowing its employees to communicate as an enterprise network. This is the SOHO, but we have another term enterprise networks. I will talk about that. But the smaller networks at home, when used for business, for example, purposes, often go by the name small office, home office, or SOHO networks. And now you know that we can connect our SOHO to the internet with different technologies, and you learned about some of these different technologies, and also you learned about some of the terms about the for example about the SOHO. But let me to give you a little explanation about the enterprise networks. But don't forget that enterprise networks, okay, concepts and for example details should be explained more than this, so more than this in future videos. But let me to give you a brief explanation about the enterprise networks. Look at here, this is the for example enterprise network. Maybe when you are working in your for example in your working area, you will see some devices. Let me talk about that enterprise network. Let me to give you a brief definition about the enterprise networks. What is the enterprise networks? Let me to review this. The information technology or IT world refers to a network created by one corporation or enterprise for the purpose of allowing its employees to communicate as an enterprise networks. Okay, this is larger, so larger than a SOHO. When you are working in enterprise networks, maybe you encounter with many different types of networking devices. Let me to review some of them. For example, in your room, maybe you see one switch. Switch can connect to multiple computers. For example, here we have 4 computers in this room, and this switch can connect this 4 PCs, PC1, PC2, this is PC1, this is PC2, this is PC3, and this is for example PC4, and this switch is connected to these 4 PCs. And after that we are using this switch to connect to a router, and after that with router we can connect to the, for example, internet or other branches, for example the branches in another city. Okay, here we have more devices than a SOHO. You will learn about it, don't worry about the detail, but here we have more devices. We need to think about the function of switch, function of router, and in this course you will learn how you can configure the switch, how you can configure the router, how you can troubleshoot these networks, and many other things about the enterprise networks. But you know, now you know that the enterprise networks is the focus of a network engineer, because in the home, in the SOHO, only a user connect to a network, and here we don't need to think about the detail because everything is clear. We have a, for example, modem. We need to connect that modem to the for example the phone line, and after that we can connect it to our PC, maybe with a little configuration, with a little for example things, we can use the internet. Here we don't need to do anything. But in enterprise networks, you need, as a network administrator, configure, troubleshoot, maintain the devices. Finally, the users in the enterprise networks can work with the network. Look at here, this is the user again. Here we have a user connected to the enterprise networks. Again, we have some users, but these users don't know about the detail of networks. We are the admins. We are working in most cases in the enterprises for configuring, for troubleshooting, for creating the networks. Why? Because the users needs to work with the network. Because of that, they need to us, because if we don't configure, if we don't troubleshoot it, if we don't maintain the network, they can't use the networks. They can't, for example, work. And because of that, our role is in the enterprise networks, and we are the administrators of the enterprise networks, not the SOHO networks in most cases. All right, this is the for example, enterprise networks. As you can see, our computer are connected to the switch, and the switch can connect to some servers, and also with the router we can connect to internet or other branches. Okay, here we can see the enterprise networks diagram. Here we have a cloud. This is the enterprise network, for example, this part of the network, and after that we have a switch. We can only, as a user, we can see only a switch, for example, in our room. Okay, our computer connected to the switch, but we don't know anything about the other detail. Because of that, I am using the cloud here, enterprise. This is the enterprise networks, other side of the network. And after that, in some cases, maybe you connect to the enterprise networks with one access point. For example, you can connect your PC, your tablet to the enterprise network with one access point. This is, again, we have here, we have a LAN, and also here we have a WLAN. Users in SOHO, okay, this is the user. Let me write here, users in SOHO are connecting to the, for example, a modem, or for example, access point, or some other devices. And in the enterprise, this is the enterprise networks. In enterprise networks, they are connected to the, for example, one switch. That's it. They don't know anything about the other detail of the network. But in this course, you will learn about the detail of the networks, because you are administrators of the networks, and one administrator should know about the detail of the networks, should know about the rules, that we can use that rules for understanding the relation between the for example, devices, or how we can tune the network, how we can troubleshoot the networks. Okay, one of the most important rules that one administrator should know about that is the TCP/IP, and TCP/IP is a protocol suite. Okay, protocol suite or protocol stack. Protocol, okay, it means a stack of protocols. Many protocols exist on the TCP/IP, and we don't want to talk about all of these protocols in this course or in this video, but